Hello and welcome along to another episode of this FM19 story, part of the furniture with me, Daniel. It's season 15, episode 5, and today it's a big top 4 clash in the Premier League. We're trying to hold on to our Champions League qualification place as we play third place Manchester City at home at the Torquay Stadium. We've not done too well in the last few games against them, but today it's also very close. They're 1 point above us as it stands at the moment, as we're just 5 points off the top of the league remarkably, with half of the season gone, and this is our game in hand today, so we could certainly put ourselves back in the mix. We've been brilliant all season, but just look how tight that top 7 is. Only 2 points drop us down to 7th place, with the top 7 separated by just 7 points. So it's very much the top 6 you expect from real life, with the addition of our Torquay United side, and maybe that's a massive achievement in itself, and we should be enjoying that more than we are at the moment. But our desire to get to the top and win a trophy is there, and we may be able to do it in a cup competition, but we'd love to break into the Champions League, and if we could do it through the Premier League table, that would be even more remarkable. But let's go and have a look at the schedule to see what's been happening since the last episode. You can see from the team stats we've still got the second best defensive record in the league, and we've been blitzing the opposition in Europe, and remarkably we've done okay in the cups as well, although we've needed a little more luck in those ones. But you were with me at the end of October for that dramatic draw away at Chelsea, a last minute equaliser which got us an undeserved draw. We weren't great in the first half of the game, but we came back into it late on. Then at home in the Europa League, our backup side won 6-0 again, the second time they'd managed that at home in the competition. Rijeka, the Croatian champions, put to the sword, with an assortment of scorers from our reserve side. Then at home to Liverpool in the league, the 2 games we were worried about in November, the first of them was this one and we lost it 2-0. We didn't ever look like getting a result. Then away at Arsenal we did okay, but a 1-0 defeat as we fell away from home. I think it was our first away defeat, was it? No, we lost to their North London rivals Tottenham early on, but our first defeat on the road for 3 months. Certainly a good effort from our side on the road. But we recovered at home in the Europa League next time round against CSKA Moscow, a 3-1 victory at home, the same result we obviously had in the away game, which you saw on camera a few episodes ago. A brilliant result which assured us of top spot after qualification was wrapped up in 4. Then 3 days later we won at home to Blackburn, all of the goals coming in the first 11 minutes. 2-1 it was after we took an early lead, and Alba got one back but it wasn't quite enough. Omar picked up a knock but it didn't harm him for too long, and certainly hasn't harmed our form. Away to Aston Villa just 3 days later, Omar missed out on this occasion. Silla picked up a knock after getting a goal as Andrade continued his good form on the road, and Daniel Kozzel's been scoring for fun off the bench, so Silla's little knock didn't harm us at all. A brilliant result, and we followed it up at home to Watford. 3 games in 6 days and we won them all, and against opposition we need to be beaten if we want to compete for the top 4. A 2-1 victory on this occasion, and again it was Andrade with the winner. He's been absolutely fantastic in the last couple of months, and I've really got high hopes for him. Then the last Europa League game we rested as many as we could. We even gave an under 18 a chance in the first team. Pete Haaland, a young centre-half, making his second appearance off the bench in Europe. Both of them coming this season, of course. He did a pretty good job in that one. He's got 4-star potential and we want to give him opportunities. He's not developing too quickly in training, but we're certainly going to give him every opportunity. Kozzel got a hat-trick with 2 from the penalty spot, and Juan Manuel Ramos getting a goal too. The home side went down to 9 men by the end, and I cannot believe they finished second in the group. Away to Southampton we drew 0-0, a pretty disappointing result, but in the end the performance was okay. It just wasn't our lucky day, and a point's not a disaster. We retain our unbeaten run. Then at home to Arsenal in the Carabao Cup, the most enjoyable one for me, a 0-0 draw as we continued with our backup side. Then in the penalty shootout, Andrade came up first. He missed to give Arsenal the advantage, but they missed both their third and fourth. The only first teamer we played in that game was Stojanovic, the keeper, and he came good in the shootout as we snuck through 4-3. In the semi-final we'll be playing the league leaders Tottenham, so it's going to be a difficult occasion, but we've got a chance to get to the final and win our first big trophy at Torquay. You can see we've drawn Championship Stoke in the FA Cup as well as we come towards the January transfer window, so plenty of interesting moments coming up as we try to improve our squad for the second half of the year. But we've got a big game against City today. It's going to be crucial in deciding the top 4 chase. There's so many clubs so close together and we're all consistent against the sides lower in the table, so it is going to be about the results between us, which so far haven't been great on our part. After that, we've got two more slightly friendly games on paper against Cardiff and Bournemouth, but they're separated by just 2 days, and that's where we could fall a little bit short. Then a hectic January as we're still in the Carabao Cup, before we face Bucharest in the Europa League. That's a pretty favourable draw for the last 32. But let's go and get into this game against City. 1 point separating us in the league, and we're pretty much at full strength, for there's no players out injured, and hopefully that will benefit us today. But if we go through the 11, there won't be many surprises. Stojanovic continues in goal. Quirk and Moraes are the fullbacks, with McDonnell and Mon-Everson in the middle. Bacanez in the holding role. Keita and Omar in central midfield. And then Sousa and Silla on the wings, with Alex Andrade up front. The star ratings are starting to change again. Is it just because the likes of McDonnell and Bacanez continue to improve? Or maybe are some of the others getting a bit weaker? I'm not quite sure what's causing it, but the lads are still playing well, and that's all that matters. Almost everyone with a rating above a 7, and Kozzel an absolute on fire goal machine on the bench. Let's go and get into the game against City and hope we can get a good result in front of our home fans. It's a 4-2-3-1 for Manchester City. All of the big names we expect are still there. Julian's not in the lineup today, and he's not on the bench either, so that does bode well for us in January, as he's the one player we'd probably like to sign again. They've still got the real-life player De Ligt, who obviously has gone to Juventus for big money in the summer in real life. He's at City as an experienced pro now. They've got Williams up front, who scored goals against us in the past, and Mane in the number 10 role. He's an absolute superstar. They've still got Duday in central midfield too. He's a player that we tried to sign many years ago, but he rejected us because he wanted to stay in his home country and then join City just a few weeks later. So plenty of interesting subplots to this one, but we're going to go and get into the team talk. Completely off topic as we tell the lads to prove a point. I'm recording this a couple of days in advance, and later on today it's Luton's first game of the season, the club I obviously support. We've been moved to Friday night for our first game back in the Championship, and it's live on TV against Middlesbrough, so hopefully by the time this episode's released, we've had a really good game there, and maybe even got a positive result against one of the favourites to reach the playoffs. Two new managers who have been coaches in their previous elements of their career. It's going to be a really interesting game, and I hope if you're watching it live that you really enjoy the match. Hopefully it'll show Luton in a good light too, but with a new manager after promotion, it's a little bit of a weird situation. But back to Football Manager, it's De Ligt on the right hand side. City have started this game well. We're already going to drop to a balanced mentality, and they've had two good chances in 2.5 minutes. We're on the counter now with Sousa though. Charges down the right and he's had a slight challenge on him, but it doesn't matter when you score goals like that. It falls for Omar 25 yards out, rifles it down the middle. It didn't even look like it went towards the corner of the net. It went straight down the middle. I've got to go and check this one again. Sousa into Omar, right footed, it does. The keeper got wrong footed by it, but it didn't go into the corner. A thunderous strike from Omar though, and he's really starting to come good. He was a wonder kid over the last couple of years, and although he's not the only big fish in the side now, he's still a sensational player, and he's been a key one for us this season. Another chance for Sousa, which is brilliantly saved, and now we've got a corner with Omar again. Headed away by City and flicked further on, Montero hacks it away for a throw. A really good start after that early chance for City. We lead 1-0 with 10 minutes gone. It's a free kick for City on the left as it comes back to Mane on the edge of the box. He shoots wide, we can deal with those all day, but if they have enough of them I'm sure they'll get one on target. City with an early injury, Montero's forced to go off, and with 20 minutes gone we still lead 1-0. Very quickly going back to the Luton game, I'm so excited as a season ticket holder. 2 promotions in a row and we're back in the second tier of English football, and although we've lost our fullbacks, I'm hoping we'll be able to put on a show. No such problems in this one though. We did have it earlier in our career where we lost big players, but not the case this summer as we're starting to build to become a championship chasing team. We've really got a chance at the top of the table and we've got to win games like this, but the fact we're competing on a performance level and leading the game after half an hour, we're giving as good as we get going forward, and that shows just how far we've come. Still looks like there's a few empty seats there, which really does confuse me. It's almost a sellout every time, and in these big games it always is full to capacity, so why we can still see seats in the far corner corner? I'm not quite sure on this occasion. But Silla charging over halfway on the left into Andrade is a brilliant slide challenge on him. It's world-class defending by Manchester City, and they've obviously played a big bucks for those guys. It's Alonso in holding midfield now for them. They're keeping possession quite well. They've had 60% of it so far in this game, but we've created just as many good chances. Mane to Williams on the edge of the box. He finds his left winger, but a shot's blocks and Keita gets it away as Andrade brings it down on the right. He's held it up well and found Keita. Into the box there's a sliding challenge. City get away with it and win back possession, and the highlight ends as we're back with the keeper. Stojanovic gets it to Moraes. Omar finds Silla on the left and now Moraes again. Omar back to Moraes. We're keeping it nicely, but Bakanes may get caught there. He finds Silla, who does well to bring it down, but he's giving it away with an awful crossfield ball, and now the left winger's got it for City with 3 or 4 charging into the box. Mane heads it over. It's a really poor chance to concede, but we get away with it with 10 to the break, and we're still in the lead at the moment. The fans are going wild, but I'm sure it's just a matter of time. The away side are starting to look really threatening now. Don't forget they had an awful season last year as they had another chance over the box. They finished 8th or 9th and missed out on Europe entirely, and they did lose 1 or 2 players in the summer, but they've reinvested well and they're up in the top 4 now, so it certainly looks like they'll be contending again. All of the top 6 have started well this year, so we haven't got one dropping up like we had last season, and that means it's going to be even harder to get to the Champions League, but as it stands at the moment, we're going back to 2nd place. City have had more shots than us, but they've all been missing the target. They've had headers from difficult positions and had long shots that haven't really troubled the keeper. 1 shot on target from their 10 attempts, and we're happy with that as the game moves on. We're going to tell the lads to guard against complacency. I'm sure they won't think the job's done against City. We've gone slightly against Stuart Jelling's wishes there, and I hope it'll pay off in the second half. As we say that, Omar loses it immediately. Dude gets it wide to the left, but Richard Quirk blocks the cross and now he can bring it away. Hopefully the highlight will end with no damage. Maybe we'll get to see a counter though, as Omar brings it down again, but he only concedes possession to the right back, though Silla's managed to nick it off him. He's got Andrade ahead of him, but he's been challenged, and it's gone to Herkes, the left back. A bit of a weird passage of play this, and it's been a really long one, which does concern me. We know these normally lead to goals, and the pink and grey suit's unhappy on the left. Look at the space they've got in the box there. What on earth's happened at the back? The defence was nowhere to be seen. I just saw the ball being switched to the left winger, then suddenly realised he had 20 yards of space on the edge of the box. Where on earth has the defence gone? Richard Quirk's having a really poor run, and I'm starting to get a bit concerned about it. It's Epstein on the left-hand side for City. The right-hand side, sorry, for them, and Herkes gets the ball into the box again, but it's blocked on his path and it's out for a corner. Omar heads away as far as Moraes. Here's Mane, 30 yards out from goal. De Ligt finds Alonso and De Ligt again. They're just keeping the ball quite confidently. We started this second half awfully, and we shouldn't have disobeyed Stuart Jelling's recommendations. We've gone and ignored him, and it's going to cost us here. Of City have come out a different side. They've obviously had the hairdryer treatment, and we're going to do well to cope with them in this half. Omar to Bakanes at the back over the top. Andrade's managed to get through though. He's been slide challenged, he's left it a bit too long, and now it's away to City. Why are these highlights lasting so long? Bakanes commits a foul, and we're going to demand more from the lads as he's going to get a yellow card. We're back with a free kick immediately. So many highlights early in this half, and unfortunately they're all for City in attack as they're really starting to overwhelm us. Dude and Alonso play a 1-2. Out to Herkes on the left. What on earth is Stojanovic doing there? Just had to claim the cross and flapped at it. It's cleared away as far as Silla in the end, and now we can force it on the counter again. Keita's been challenged, but he's managed to keep hold of possession. Good switch to Omar in the box. Brilliant effort and a fantastic save, and he's tipped behind for a Torquay corner. We're still threatening on the break even if we're getting overrun, as Omar's overhit corner goes as far as Mon Iverson at the back post. He's been challenged and Mane can bring it away. Now City have got a 3-on-3. Quirk does brilliantly on this occasion though, and he's out for a throw on the left hand side for City. Will we finally get a bit of a breather? We won't, as it's back for a City free kick. Alonso bringing it forward 30 yards out. Good block by Silla out for a throw in. Not quite sure why we saw that one really, but with an hour gone the scores are all level at 1-1. 20 minutes to go and we've not seen any further highlights, so let's go and make some substitutions. Alex Andrade's had an awful game, so Rutherford's on up front for him. Maddie Cater's had one of his worst games in a Torquay shirt. Luckily we've got the strong Dimitri Lappin on the bench, and the fullbacks have both been really poor too, but Richard Quirk's apprehensive, so Talasise's going to come on for him, and hopefully he'll make an impact. 15 to go, we may drop the fullbacks to support duties, just to keep them in a bit more of a structure, and prevent what cost us the goal defensively, where our fullbacks got caught high up the pitch. So we're going to do that and get back into it, and hopefully the last 15 minutes will be easier. 10 minutes to go and this game has calmed down a bit. I know I could be saying that a little too soon. Sousa gets the ball to Omar in the middle. He tries to go over the top, but it's intercepted. The Legs got it at the back to Jones. The centre half's in no rush to get it forward. City keeping possession well as Carrick the sub finds Mane. Carrick's another player we briefly tried to sign one summer before he chose to go to Liverpool instead of us, and now he's going to be playing against us for the opposition as we try to compete with City in a title race. Sousa blocks the cross and he's charging away with it now, well over the halfway line, in towards Rutherford. There's a man running off him, but he doesn't need him. He puts it past the keeper, and again it wasn't in either corner of the net. Plenty of power was enough to beat the keeper, and every single shot we've had's on target. Plenty of clinical work in front of goal, and Rutherford comes off the bench to win the game. 4 minutes to go in stoppage time, and we've just got to keep things tight at the back. Cisse, the sub right back, who was involved in that goal there. Brilliant run from Sousa though, which has got to be recommended, and now Sousa's got the ball on the edge again as he goes back to Omar. We've had a couple of international managers saying that our players can't be playing for their sides because we haven't got a big enough reputation and they need to move to a bigger club. Sousa at one stage with one of those, which for a Swiss international is a little bit insulting, particularly as they're ranked about 20 or 30 in the world. It's not like they're one of the big top nations. We've had another chance there which was headed wide, and unfortunately it's still just one goal in it. That makes it nervy and a grandstand finish, but if we can hold on it'll be a famous result. Duday goes long, Cisse heads it away, only as far as the left winger though. He does brilliantly to recover and get the challenge in as it's out for a City corner. So Sousa's had a brilliant impact again, a fantastic season since he's returned, and now Rutherford can bring it away again, though the slide challenge is good from Ottenhoff. Another player we thought about signing in the summer, but Moraes wanted far less in terms of wages. It's a City throw at right back as the highlight continues. 2 minutes of stoppage time to go. We'll make some more changes in a second, particularly on the tactical front, but we just want to see out this highlight. 90 seconds left and I've whacked the spacebar. We're going to drop to a cautious mentality. Time waste all the time, drop the tempo, play for set pieces to make things take a bit longer, be more disciplined. In transition we'll hold our shape and we'll slow the pace down when we get it at the back. We're also not going to close down the City keeper. They can keep the ball as long as they want in their own half. We've got to prevent the spaces in the opposition's half so they can't get the ball forward past halfway. It's Bacanes with the ball in the holding midfield role though. Now that's quite high up the pitch with our attacking throw. He goes back to Moraes on halfway though, and he finds McDonnell at centre half. You can go back to the keeper if you want, lads. There's absolutely no harm in that, as Ottenhoff gets it into Carrick and Jones back to the left back again. He's coming forward over the top to Williams. A chance to run at the Torquay defence. Moraes heads it away as far as the right back, and he can only find Silla with his header. A good sliding challenge again though. This is so nervy as City come forward. We've seen almost all of stoppage time here. Moreira into the box again. McDonnell heads away. He's been a powerhouse alongside Mon Iversen. Ottenhoff switches it to Moreira. His cross is blocked out for a corner, and with just 20 seconds of stoppage time to go, the tactical changes have finally been made. Williams into the box, Cisse away, and it's deflected into the net off Duday in the last second of the game. An unfortunate ricochet in the box, and unfortunately City nick a draw. It's the complete reverse of the last game on camera. We nicked one late on against Chelsea away, and City have done the same to us this time. But hold on a minute as Sousa comes forward. The final whistle goes. It's a 2-2 draw, and it couldn't be a more disappointing way to lose it. From a corner in the last second, and it bobbles around before being deflected in. It's Duday, one of our former targets as well. We say unlucky to the lads. We're not going to criticise them for that, and our hearts have been broken in the final seconds to leave us 4 points behind the leaders. Just 3 points down to Chelsea in 7th 7th now, and that's a concern moving forward into winter. Obviously Bournemouth in 8th are miles behind, so we're definitely going to be in that top 7, but as we've seen before 2 seasons ago, that won't guarantee European football, particularly if one of the sides lower in the table go and win a domestic cup. Let's see what the media have said about the game. City rue missed chances, they did dominate the match, they had more possession and more shots, but we had the clear-cut ones on target. Rutherford ends his goal drought and it was a good finish as well. Omar did brilliantly, we'll go and praise him, and we'll deal with the press conference off camera. But a really dramatic game, and one we saw plenty of highlights from, but we finished this episode in 4th place yet again. It's so tight there up with the top 7, and maybe it's more of an achievement than I'm giving it credit for, just for us to be up there with the traditional top 6. But let's go and have a look at the schedule to see when we'll be back. I want to show you something around transfer deadline day. It's something I always tend to do, and this year will be no different. So depending on the state of the Torquay game, I probably should show you the second leg of the Carabao Cup semi-final. If it's out of sight either way, we won't bother with that, and we'll skip through to the first game of February where we're going away from home in Europe. But either way, we will see a game from that time of the season, one in late January or the 1st of February. If you did enjoy this episode though and that dramatic game against City, please do put a thumbs up on the video. Let me know in the comments what you thought of the performance. We did everything right towards the end of the game, but unfortunately it was just a lucky one from a corner. No tactical change can do much about that. If anywhere, let me know where you think we need to strengthen in January. We've got 50 million remaining. I know we'll have to put a bit of that to the wage bill, but it's still going to be enough to get a top player in. Are there any areas of the first team which you think aren't quite strong enough? Which one do you think we need to improve? I've just noticed Baccanes is suspended on Boxing Day, but at home to Cardiff we should be able to survive that. Subscribe to the channel for daily FM19 content from my 2 long-term stories. If you didn't see yesterday's episode of The Head Coach, it is important you go and see that one. It was the last in the series in its current format, as we'll be starting a short-term challenge on Monday. So do go and check out yesterday's episode to find out what that's all about, and hopefully you'll enjoy the short challenge we've got in store. That will start tomorrow at 4:30 as always, so hopefully you'll come and join me for that one. There's also 3 episodes a week from my Cricket 19 career, every Tuesday, Thursday and Saturday at midday. A massive thank you to everyone that supported that series, as well as our Ashes Test playthrough beforehand. I've really been blown away by the support for Cricket 19, and if you're a cricket fan in real life like me as well, I hope you're enjoying the first Ashes Test. By now it may well be over of course, as this episode will be released towards the end of day 4. Finally, there's also weekly content from my Snooker 19 career every Friday at 4:30, but a massive thanks for watching this one and your continued support with the series. I really do appreciate it, and I hope to see you next time for another important episode, as hopefully we'll have a cup final to celebrate, as well as some January transfer news.